I didn't make progress in the 10 plus skills that I wanted to learn. But after taking action, changing my life and making progress and achieving in the areas of life that I care about the most, here are 5 strategies that I will use if I wanted to learn and master a skill. Strategy number 1, we'll go back to the game Shadow Fight, or basically any game that you want. In the game Shadow Fight, there will be the big boss that you have to fight, and there will be some mini bosses that you have to defeat before that. Depending on your stats and your skill and your game level, you will be able to defeat one of the bosses. But then you will struggle, you will get defeated by the boss. So what do? You go, you put in the work, you level up your stats, your skills, your everything, and then you're able to defeat the next boss. So considering that almost all of you watching the video would have heard of the game, this is part of what makes the game addicting. You have the roadmap. Now imagine when you go and try to learn that skill of yours, you have a similar roadmap. You know what you have to do, what comes next. You have the roadmap of your skill. And that's the first point. This roadmap of yours can be freed, it can be paid, but then it will be one of the most valuable things that you have in terms of learning your skill. And I'll put in the description, I'll put some of the resources that I found in trying to learn various skills. These are the resources that I found useful for every single one of those skills. These are the roadmaps. I'll link some roadmaps down in the description. And that is for a macro level. That is on the big level. But then what about the micro level? This thing that I'm going to talk about applies to YouTube, drawing, instruments, and coding, basically any skill that you want to learn. In YouTube, there are a whole lot of things that you need to be good in order to make a good video. The titles, the thumbnails, the video, me speaking, the call to actions, my stories, every single thing. How do I learn it? How do I get good at it? You know, when a baby is in the room and you know how a baby learns a language. You don't have to go to a baby and be like, cat, C-A-T, that's a cat, say with me, cat. No, just by observing and copying, the baby can learn the language. And that's how we want to learn as well. Just copy. And oh no, Yuka is telling us to copy. Oh my god, listen carefully. The major objections that come here are that if I copy my drawings, if I copy my coding, if I copy all of that stuff, if I copy some stuff, some aspects for my own videos, I won't be original. Well, thing is, originality comes when you copy from lots and lots of sources. And second thing, you find your originality through repetition, and you get good in the repetition by copying. So that just makes sense. This is the shortcut. And of course, give yourself the freedom to bring something new to the table, but then don't prevent yourself from getting good by copying what's already there. If something works, then it means that you don't have to go reinvent the wheel every single time. And then the third thing, I have drawn a box next to the third thing, which means it is really that important. And don't just copy a little bit, copy a lot. Because the more you copy, the more original you become, the more you learn. And when you just put loads of volume in copying, imitating, and you're doing it properly with, I think the point number 4, deliberate practice, if you're combining those two, then you will learn the skill a lot better. You can go see how that person plays the game. You try to copy it, you fail, you try to copy it, fail. But then you're able to play football a lot better. Just getting to the third point, which is, you know, when I did want to learn a lot of skills my whole life, but then you know what my routine was like. You know what your routine is like. I came from school in 7th grade, coming from the lockdown. I came from school, I'd watch some TV, probably anime, and then I'll sleep for some time. I'll wake up, my mom will force me to study, do some homework, something. I'll watch some YouTube videos and sleep. That is how majority of the people spend their time. And when you get your free time, the first thing that your mind goes to, the first thing that your hand goes and clicks on is that source of instant pleasure. And that's the biggest thing that stops you, that stops anyone from making progress in the skill. People say that they are procrastinating doing the work. They don't have motivation. They don't have the willpower. Imagine this wasn't the sources of stimulation and entertainment wasn't a part of your life. You would genuinely be interested in doing the work. I'm telling you, when these sources of high levels of stimulations are cut out, you will start to find interest and more interest in the low level work that you have to do. And then the work will end up helping your life a whole lot more. And just imagine this. What is the sacrifice of those distractions? What is the sacrifice you are putting? Because 3 years ago, if you had started on the journey, and in the past 3 years, if you had just dedicated an hour of your day on a skill that you cared about, by now you wouldn't have just made progress, but you would have achieved in that skill. And that is the sacrifice you're making, just because you cannot sacrifice the pleasure of the instant moment. You should be angry listening to this. You should be angry at how this controls your life and how this holds you back in your life. It's not your fault that you came into this. It's not your fault that you started wasting your time, that you started spending away your focus, your time and energy on goddamn Mr. Beast videos. It's not your fault. But then, now that you know about this, it is your responsibility. And because this is such a major one, at the end of this video, I'll give you a very important resource for you to go and take more action on this. I'll put it here. And in the time that you actually learn the skill, in the time when you're practicing, in the time when you're doing the coding, you're doing the drawing, it's very easy to go and waste your time. It's very easy to go and do the things which are easier to do, but then won't actually benefit you. So what does benefit you? Deliberate practice. This is what actually makes progress. When I'm playing football, when I was practicing basketball, just taking the skill that I wasn't able to do, putt, and then repeating it until I was able to do it. That's deliberate practice. You find something in the skill that you want to learn, you find a sub skill that you aren't able to do, and then you repeat it until you're able to do it. In the website, if you're learning typing, the website kind of forces you to do that automatically. But in a lot of skills, we have to do that ourselves. We have to do the deliberate practice. Ourselves. We have to pick the sub skills. We have to drill it in. If you're learning copywriting, write a copy, see what's wrong. If you want to practice the storytelling in the words that you write it. The story is not as good, rewrite it. The story is not as good, rewrite it. The story is decent. That's how you improve. And this I do struggle, even at this point I do struggle using it to level up in my own skills. And if it's possible, don't just do deliberate practice. What you need to do is that pick one part that you're doing deliberate practice on, one part of the skill, and then just go at it for a few weeks and then switch it. Instead of trying to do everything at once, pick one, stick with it, and then switch. This is called periodization. Periodize the learning of your skill. Periodize your practice. And the final one, I just want you to leave the video with this. This person called Mary something, I don't remember her name. She went up and she asked her mom. She's like, Mom, how are you able to do so many things when nobody has taught you how you are able to? Nobody has taught you how to do it. Nobody has shown you how to do it. And her mom just looks at her. She smiles and she says, "What are you even talking about? Listen, nothing in life is really that complicated. If you roll up your sleeves, you go into it and you get your hands dirty, everything is figure outable." And Alex Hormozy, a multi-million-dollar businessman, he told that it only takes 20 hours of focused work for you to get better at the work, get better at the skill than 90% of the people who haven't even tried the skill. And that amount of focus time will lead to greater improvement and greater knowledge. The first 20 hours of focused work will lead to more returns on your investment than thinking and learning and just trying out and doing all of this other stuff about the skill. Just go into it and get your hands dirty, because everything is figure outable. And for the biggest thing that holds you back from doing the other 4 things, for all the stimulations, all the things that you are controlled by, I have made a video on the dopamine detox, and the mistake that most people make with dopamine detox is that just stops them from using it to change. So click on that video and I'll see you there. Don't forget, I'm watching you from afar and I'm rooting for you. Give me a kiss.